You know, just a couple of observations about India and Indian companies. First of all, I don't think that there is something that is Indian companies. I think every company is different, and some are better than others, and some are managing very effectively, and some are not. As a country, I think that the success of the past decade has caused some things to creep into the economy that could become barriers over time. You know, when you're doing well, governments tend to start to do things which may impact competitiveness over time. I think that actually the economy is at a phase of evolution right now where these large conglomerates in India really need to think about rationalizing their portfolio of businesses and start asking themselves the question, what are we really good at? What are we better at than anybody else in the world? Let's invest in that. And in areas where we're not the best, let's divest things. I think that there's a time now that there should be more buying and selling and rationalizing portfolios. You see, in a country like India, you see lots of conglomerates. In developed economies like Europe and the United States, you don't see so many conglomerates. They've basically become much, much more focused on the things that they're really good at, and they have to because of the competitive pressures. I think as India begins to see a little bit slower growth, and it's seeing that right now, those pressures are going to come on, and companies that don't pay attention to that and really determine what are we the best at, let's invest in that, and let's get out of the things we're not so good at. That was a theory that was used for many decades in the United States. It turns out that most companies are owned by investors. The investors can do the diversification. They don't need you to do it. And by you being involved in many different things, it's very difficult to focus. One of the things that we've done is we've looked at the top 1,500 publicly traded firms in the world.
Right.
From 1986 until now, all of those that are traded on, across the globe on all the different bourses across the world, and we've sort of tracked who does well, who is able to outperform. In other words, who's able to exceed their cost of capital for 10 years running, in 10-year increments. So from 1986 to 96, 87 to 97, and so on, up to 2002 to 2012. There's only about 10% of companies that are actually able to succeed at that. 85% of them are in only one or two core businesses. The ones that have lots of cores, they don't do well. That's just an analytical fact across the world over now more than 30 years, or close to 30 years of tracking companies.